Welcome to the Girl Gang. I'm Katrina Gardner of Katrina and Create.
And I'm Dominique Goyette-Connerty of Evergreen Marketing. On this show, we're going to chat with women business owners in Massachusetts and those who support local women in business.
Because girls don't just want to have fun. They also want to sell real estate.
They want to open a brewery.
They want to teach others to invest in the stock market.
They want to take stunning photos, plan lavish parties, and help people recover from injuries.
Girls just want a podcast.
What can we say?
We're girls.
Welcome back to Girls Just Wanna.
Welcome to Girls Just Wanna. So, I thought I would share with the class that I, for the first time in my life, went skiing.
Amazing.
Have you ever been skiing?
No.
Never? Do you
No.
want to?
No. I mean, I would try it if, I don't know, if I had a group of friends or whatever that was going and, had all the things that I needed to be able to try it.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to go out and, buy skis or anything like that or pay money to rent them. Because I'm not that invested in it. And quite frankly, I don't have the money to, pick up a fancy new hobby.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not anti-skiing. I don't do it.
I married into a skiing family.
Interesting.
Many years ago. And
this isn't a new marriage, just FYI.
They, for years, have been like, we need to get you out on the slopes. I have a snowboard. One was given to me because my cousin-in-law, I can't remember if she just got a new one or maybe it's when she moved to California. She was like, I don't need this anymore. Here you go. And she so snowboards are based on height. She's a little shorter than me. So I don't know for sure if it would be the right size. And I have snowboarding boots because of that. But I just had never gotten out there. And my father-in-law, he's been I need to take you out. And he's hardcore skier. He goes and does competitions and races all the time and stuff. So last year he had bought me a pass to Wachusett, and then we didn't end up getting to go because of schedules, and also it just wasn't very snowy, just this year, not very snowy. But we went together on Valentine's Day to go skiing
with your father-in-law.
Yeah, just the two of us.
Oh, cute.
Little date, and he taught me how to ski, and it was terrifying.
Oh, really?
It was really fun, but after 2 hours, I was
dead,
passing out, falling on my feet. And I think it was from
exhausting.
adrenaline.
It seems exhausting.
It was. And oh my gosh, your feet in those shoes, the angle of your legs, you just have to be kind of super, super flexed the whole time.
Oh, really?
And that was just weird. So the balls of my feet were cramping just from not being used, not usually doing that. But yeah, it was fun. Am I gonna become a skier? No. Do I feel I have the skills that I need to go on family vacations to Loon Mountain and do one pass and then sit in the ski lounge? Yeah.
Good for you.
That's what I want.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. I did break my jacket, which is a new jacket and a very nice jacket. But one of the times I fell, the zipper just busted open.
No.
So I don't have a zipper anymore.
Oh no.
But yeah, I mean, it's scary. You start to go so fast, then you're shit, do I know how to stop other than just flailing myself onto the ground?
No.
Yeah.
I would just be all right, well, I'm going to fall now and see what happens.
Yep. So that's what I did a couple times, but then it got better.
Good.
So yeah, that was a fun, unique experience. So if anyone wants to come with me to a ski lounge, and we can show up with our stuff, but then actually just drink in a bar, that's my cup of tea.
I will join you for the drinking part.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay, so my update is that I have been at war with my insurance company.
This is not new news.
I mean, I'm always at war. Just as someone who's so anti-establishment, I am always at war with some type of insurance, be it car, health, dental, whatever.
Just always got to fight the fight, no
right.
matter who it is.
Well, there's a lot of fighting that needs to be done. What can I say?
Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. So I think I briefly mentioned, mostly I was talking about car insurance a few weeks ago, but I briefly mentioned that I changed health insurance back in September when I turned 26. I got on the Health Connector through Massachusetts. And so, like, if anyone's been through the Health Connector, they give you like a few options in a certain tier based off of how much money you make, whatever. So I chose one of the 3 options. My therapist, who I've been seeing at that point for 3 years, well, just shy of 3 years, wasn't in network with any of the options that they gave me. So it was kind of like, either way, I'm kind of screwed. So I went with one option, and then I was able to get like continuation of care for like the 90 days after you switch over, because they give you like a transitional period to figure it out. So now my 90 days is up as of February 1st. And I like called them and asked to like submit more paperwork, like a prior authorization form, to get it approved to keep seeing her for like another year or whatever, like whatever I have to do to fill it out to request like seeing her at in-network costs, even though she's out of network. And they were like, oh yeah, you just have to submit this form and then you'll be good. And I was like, am I being punked right now? I was like, that's it? That's all we have to do is submit this form again? She was like, yeah. And I was like, and it'll be accepted? And she was like, yeah. And if it's not, like if for any reason there's an issue, your provider, like your therapist, can just file like an appeal. And I was like, are you joshing me right now? There's no way this is that easy. Fast forward to, of course, my instinct was correct, and it was not that easy. We filed the form. They were like, yeah, no. We did an appeal. They were like, yeah, no. Like, go screw yourselves. They told me that I have to see someone in network now. They gave me a couple options. I called those people to make sure they were actually accepting new clients. Mind you, I have no interest in seeing a new therapist.
Right.
Because I've already built a relationship with my therapist for 3 years now, seeing her weekly.
Right.
And so I talked to these other people, and I was like, just so you know, like, thanks for your time, but like, I don't actually want to meet with you.
Yeah.
They were like, no, totally get it. So anyways, I'm still fighting. I just basically call insurance now once a week and cry. So new favorite activity. They just like, quite frankly, don't care.
Yeah.
They just literally don't care. And my argument is, you know, their argument is, well, you're seeing someone who provides, you know, this type of therapy for this type of diagnosis. And we have providers in network,
right,
who have that type of qualification and work with that type of diagnosis and have availability. So like, you need to see someone in our network. My argument is, I'm not freaking switching dentists here.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a provider that I see once or twice a year.
Right.
Who just cleans my teeth.
Right.
Right? This is a therapist who I've built a several year long relationship with, who I see every week.
Yeah.
Okay. She knows all the players. Like, to restart therapy from square one and explain like the issues with my dad and my family and whatever
about the new relationship with a therapist.
Yeah. So it's like, I just know if I can't keep seeing my therapist, that I won't go to therapy.
Yeah.
And like, that's not the solution either, but like, that's going to be the reality. So anyways, that's the update. If anyone has any advice for me, if anyone's really good at dealing with health insurance companies, let me know. Basically, the most recent guy that I talked to when I called their customer service line, because of course, every time you call, you just get a new person and you have to re-explain the whole issue from the beginning. The most recent guy I talked to literally was like, if I were you, I just wouldn't take no for an answer. Sir, this is a recorded line. Like, your job is to tell me no, and you're just telling me, if I were you, just keep calling back and don't take no for an answer. That was his advice.
Also, like, how does he expect you to not take no for an answer? You're like, I haven't been.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten anywhere.
So I'm at a loss. I don't really know what else to do besides keep calling and keep writing them and having my therapist keep calling and keep writing them. But we're not really getting anywhere so far. So here I am on like week 3 without therapy, which, as we know from last time, going 9 weeks without therapy, it's not a pretty version of me. It's not good for everyone around me. It's certainly not good for me. So TBD.
If anyone has any advice.
And that's my life story. Thanks for listening.
Well, that's my life. Thanks for listening.
Not the Lizzie McGuire of it all.
All right. Well, all right. On that note,
we're going to bring in our next guest.
Let's do it. Hey ladies, are you looking to grow your own local girl gang?
The Young Professional Women's Association has been named Worcester Region's Best Young Professionals Network for 7 years now.
YPWA offers countless social and professional opportunities to engage and empower local ladies like you and me.
Right now, Girls Just Wanna listeners can get discounted access to YPWA's annual membership.
Go to ypwaworcester.com and enter code podcast2025 at checkout to receive $20 off their annual membership. Again, that promo code is podcast2025. We hope to see you soon at YPWA events.
Welcome to the show, Mari Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. I know you are an awfully busy lady these days. So you are you the executive director of El Buen Samaritano?
Yep, so El Buen Samaritano.
Samaritano.
Yes,
okay.
El Buen Samaritano.
I did my best.
You did, no, but you did. I love it. We can call it EBS.
EBS. Yep, is how it's known.
Yep.
Well, tell people what EBS is.
Yeah, so El Buen Samaritano, EBS, is a nonprofit organization in the city of Worcester that has been around for over 3 decades. It was established back in 1991, and we have services, all types of services like wraparound services when it comes to food insecurity, like food, clothing, hygiene. I mean, we have vaccine clinics, back to school events. I mean, the holiday drives, Thanksgiving, to, Christmas, toys. I mean, when you think about, when families need, the basic essentials or the emergency, services, we provide all those services.
Yeah.
That's just a little bit of some of the programs that we provide. Also, too, in the summer, we provide breakfast and lunch for the kids as well in the organization. But all of this has evolved as in years to go.
Yeah.
The organization was actually established by my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why they started the organization is that when we moved to the city of Worcester, state of Massachusetts, they've noticed that there wasn't a lot of resources in the city. So of course, they had that heart of just giving back and doing God's work. They were like, we have to start an organization in the other side of the city. Just the background of myself, I was born in Brooklyn, New York. So from New York, we moved to LA. And then we ended up in Los Angeles, California. So we went from Brooklyn and Red Hook area, like the hood, and then we ended up in the hood, which was, Crenshaw. I'm like, wait a minute, how are we in Crenshaw? I thought we were supposed to get out the hood.
Yeah.
So my parents just wanted to, I have 3 other siblings, so we're a family of 6, 4 children. And it's funny because, we were from 2 major cities. We ended up in Worcester. I'm like, what is Worcester, right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, Worcester is my home,
Yeah.
So I always say Brooklyn born, Worcester raised.
Yeah.
So, my kids go to school here, have my home. I got married here, like everything, Worcester is home, But with that being said, they saw that, coming to the city, there wasn't really that much resources in the sense of family of 6, trying to figure out jobs, where to live, housing, all of that. So they just, started volunteering at another organization in the city. And then from there, my dad had built a relationship with another organization, the executive director, and they were able to establish a relationship that helped him say, hey, this is how you start a nonprofit. This is how you start your 501c3 if this is something that you really want to do, in the city of Worcester on, the main South, Pleasant, Piedmont area. And then from there, we were at the time going to a church on 949 Main Street. It's no longer there. Clark University. It was an old cathedral church and all that, but they started from the basement of that church. Because we didn't have a facility. And then from there, we went from Pleasant Street, Russell Street, then Worcester Common Ground provided us a building on Bellevue Street that we rented. And then from there, that's when it just kept evolving.
Yeah. That's so inspiring, and honestly it makes me feel bad about myself that your family saw, okay, like if we're struggling with this, other people must be struggling with this. Here's our solution. We're going to start a nonprofit. Whereas I feel like everybody else would say, okay, I'm struggling with this. Like, where can I go to help? But your family saw the problem and became part of the solution, even though they were affected by the problem.
You know, and it's crazy, right? To put it in that way,
right?
Because of the fact that a lot of people will probably just be like, oh, you just continue with the
That's
struggling stage is a bummer.
Yeah.
Like why did I move to the city?
Right. Yeah. And kind of look out for yourself, which to some extent you have to do, right? Like I need food and shelter, but also to once you meet those requirements and those, needs of living, then to make it a reality and a possibility for other people who are struggling.
Yeah, and giving them hope. Yeah, right? It's all about just giving them hope. And and with that, right? Fast forward, with right myself and my 3 other siblings, we grew up with it. Like we were always helping my dad going to the Worcester County Food Bank, always going and picking up clothing, helping families. I remember, so I went to Doherty Memorial High School, and I remember we had a volunteering group, and then my volunteer group would go and volunteer, with the group. So we were always there helping.
So how has your relationship with EBS evolved then? If as a child or a teenager you were around it all the time, and now you have taken it over so graciously, so you're once again around it all the time.
I know, I was wondering, like, when did you get involved? So, did you always want to?
Yeah, no. I had no idea. And it's so crazy, right? Because I knew what they were always, I knew what, my parents were doing, the work that they were doing, but I really didn't know the intensity, like, what they were really, really doing, right? When your parents are like, they just work, they do stuff, they help people. I know we're getting always good snacks, and we were like in the neighborhood, like we always had the best snacks, the best food, giving out, but really never thought of it. So fast forward, it's now 8 years ago. Oh, wow. So 8 years back, my mother and my father, so my dad right now is 83 years old, my mom is 76, and 8 years ago my mother and my father sat myself and my 3 other siblings down in the table, and they said, listen, EBS is a 100% volunteer organization. We have been doing this for so many years, and with that being said, we're getting older, and we think we're going to have to close our doors because the capacity and sustainability, yes, we've been sustained, glory to God, right? Because our doors have never closed, but the amount and the need out there is bigger and greater than what we ever expected. And we're not getting the resources and the funding that, we're supposed to, I guess, get, just because because they didn't know how to do that. Like they didn't know how to, all they knew is, let's do God's work, let's help, let's feed people, let's give families hope. But there's out there, there's nonprofits out there making millions of dollars, and they're because they have grant writers, they have this, they have a whole marketing team, they have a whole corporation, so they're able to put themselves out there. And my mom and my dad didn't have that, right? Just because we were volunteers. So in the period of time of my life, I looked at my siblings and I was just like, oh my goodness, both of my sisters, they're in corporate management director jobs, right? My brother, he's construction, has a family. So, and another side of me is I actually work for the Department of Children and Families. So I'm a foster parent. I had the privilege before that. I was in insurance. I worked for Liberty Mutual Insurance. Okay. Yeah, right. It's crazy. Degree in fashion and merchandising and marketing. So I did a lot of retail and many years of my life. Was a district manager. Was an area manager. So I did all of that in my younger time of my career. And then I was like, okay, no more retail. Let's get into insurance. Got into insurance. Then I ended up having my second daughter. So I have a 10-year-old, Khaleesi. Khaleesi. Do you guys know what Khaleesi? Yeah, Khaleesi. Games of Thrones. Yeah. That's where her name is from.
I've got a dragon.
No, sir.
Yeah.
What?
Love me some Khaleesi.
Yes, I was pregnant, in 2013. Yeah. Games of Thrones was all about it. Time. And I said, I'm going to name my daughter Khaleesi. So working, having, pregnant, I was working in insurance. When I had my daughter, my husband at the time was like, listen, be a stay-home mom. Like, just be a stay-home mom. It's time, just so you could raise, because daycare is expensive, guys, and I'm not sure if you guys have children, but at that time I said, okay, cool. But me with my energy and all that, I'm like, I can't just stay home and do nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So another, oh my God, this is so crazy. People say, oh my God, you became your parents. I literally became my parents. So another fun fact is my parents were foster parents for 28 years. So I grew up with also foster siblings.
Yeah.
So foster siblings, food pantry, helping the community. So my parents just were all about just giving back to the community,
Yeah.
and just all that. So my mother was like, Mari, you're so good with kids. You've always been a mentor to all of the foster siblings you always had. I had in the home and all of that. Why don't you, become a foster parent? If you want to do something. And so I talked to my husband at the time and my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 20 now. And she was like, yeah, let's be foster parents, And thank goodness that I have the privilege to, I had a home that had extra bedrooms and, and we became foster parents. And as of today, we have fostered over 31 children in and out our home. Yes. So that's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So,
it's a lot.
So because I had
I'm having trouble with one kid.
Yeah. Girl, it wasn't easy. It's not easy, but let me tell you something. It takes a certain individual to open up your home and to have a certain heart to do this type of work.
Yeah.
My thing is like, my parents showed me what is to have a childhood. My parents were able to, give us a life that we would that I would never imagine. With my mom and my dad being actually going to celebrate 50 years of marriage on May 31st. I don't know what it is to not have a mom and dad in my life, right? I don't know what is arguing. Like I've never seen that with my mom and my dad, and it's just by the grace of God, I was privileged to have that, to have that opportunity growing up as, now that I'm a grown up, I'm like, listen, I don't know what it's to yell with my other significant other. And I've been with my husband for 21 years, right? And I'm like, no, we work it out and all that. Definitely different off topic right now, but but this is where, it's like when you say, oh my God, I became my parents, like literally, like I became my parents. And because with me working with the Department of Children and Families, I had the flexibility and I looked at my siblings and I was like, listen, we got to continue mom and dad's legacy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm like, we have to. So I am the third oldest. So consider the middle child, right? Because it goes my older sister, then my brother, then me, then the baby, right? My little sister, which we're only a year apart, but totally different personalities, totally different children. Like,
So when did you take over EBS? This was 8 years ago?
Yeah, so 8 years ago.
So how has the organization changed then under your ruling, under
this
new era for EBS?
So when I got into the organization, when I stepped in, I was like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I got to meet the volunteer team. I got to meet the staff. And a lot of this team were very hesitant. They were like, who is this young girl? Who is Osidi's daughter? Like, so I didn't get the welcome as I thought I was going to get the welcome. And then, of course, being a female executive director, right? It's usually man-driven and things like that, that a lot of the older people that were there, Latino men especially, were kind of like, no, your dad's the boss. I say, no, my dad's like, listen, my daughter is now the new, is the one now taking over the
Mom and dad deserve to retire too,
Yes.
And it's also great when the dad backs you up like that. Like, no, stop. Like,
And 100%. And 100%. So, I was like, all right, so what skills do I have, right? Like, I don't know anything about the nonprofit world at all, right? I didn't know you're supposed to ask for money. Okay. It took me a while to actually start saying, hey, can you donate to the organization because I didn't know that's what you needed to do. So what I wanted to make sure is that I just wanted to just let people know about the organization, right? So I was like, all right, let's get a logo. Let's start a social media. Let's get Instagram. Let's get Facebook. Let's get LinkedIn. Let's start doing Facebook Lives and letting people know where we're at, right? And that's how it all started evolving in that sense. And I started knocking on a lot of doors of like other executive directors, other organizations that were doing the work that we were doing and trying to figure out, hey, can you support me? Can you help me? Girl, you know how many doors slammed in my face? All of them. They were like, good luck.
Wow.
Good luck. Like, you know, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Wasn't really a neighbor helping neighbor.
No, like I was just kind of like, all right. So, you know, so I took it upon myself and I said, all right, since I don't know what this nonprofit world, the business aspect of it, let me go back to school. So I ended up going back to school to shout out to SNHU, University, Southern University, you know, online, one class at a time, guys, one class at a time. And I'm right now going to school for my bachelor's in nonprofit in business. You know, so I can start, you know, figuring out. And with that being said, you know, started learning with the grant writing, started learning about, you know, you need a CPA, making sure you have liability insurance, making sure you got workers' comp, like the business aspect. A nonprofit is a business. 100%. You know, I was able to even go into this, start this like entrepreneur. It's called E4All. I even signed myself up for that. And I got to learn more about the inside of the business of it. And they really never had nonprofits like apply for this program, but I was able to apply for it and I got in. You know, and so one of the things that, you know, I started doing is just started building relationships because that's what it was about.
In nonprofits for sure.
And then COVID hit. Right. So when COVID hit, I was like freaking out. We were freaking out, and I was like, "What are we gonna do?" My dad's older, my mom's older. I didn't want them to get COVID, and with that, we were the only organization open through COVID. Like a lot of the organizations that were doing the work they're doing were closing because a lot of their teams were getting COVID. Everyone was getting COVID. And when I talk about the grace of God, like I never got COVID, my dad never got COVID, none of my team got COVID. Our doors were open. I mean, the Worcester County Food Bank will email me and say, Mari, this organization is down. This organization, you're going to see the increase. You're going to see the increase. And girls, when I talk about like the lines were out there and, you know, it was like the world was at pause, right? And our doors stood open. Our doors stood open. And I saw people from the aviation work, you know, the world, from bartenders to the restaurant business, construction workers. I mean, you name it, right? It's like they were there.
COVID was that time where everything changed for a lot of people. And so you know, it's not a surprise as we look back on it now that there was this increase in need for food security or food assistance. But of course we know now, here we are in 2025, grocery prices are rising, inflation is a big issue. Are you seeing a demand, you know, an increased demand again?
Yes. So we're now, I thought COVID was bad with the increase of numbers. Now we're seeing it. It's
even
worse.
more.
Worse.
Worse.
And, you know, working with, you know, the city task force on food insecurity, working with the Worcester County Food Bank, you know, being out there talking to other organizations, we're all like, wow, it's real. I mean, it's so cute on Valentine's Day. Shout out to the Woo Sox. I came over to volunteer and all that, and they brought roses, and we were literally giving roses with eggs. I was like, Happy Valentine's Day. And the faces.
And that's an expensive Valentine's.
What? You know what I'm saying? Yo, because the bird flu is real, inflation is real, and people are excited.
I think eggs are more valuable than roses right now. For sure.
It is
dozen
so true.
Eggs, dozen roses. You know, which one?
And so, you know, it's a sad reality that so many people are dealing with food insecurity. And I think, you know, maybe years ago we would look at it and say like, oh, okay, you know, there was this terrible stigma of like, okay, well, work harder, make more money, go back to school, la 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 la.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh no, the average Joe can't afford groceries.
Thank you.
And so it's going to become, and if it isn't already, it's going to become a reality for many more American families. And I just, I thank you, first of all, for what you're doing for the community, and what can people do to help you help others?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, we rely on donations, right? Yeah. Support, volunteers. I mean, volunteers are so amazing to have because it helps my team of 6. I have a team of 6 of like volunteers that have been with me for over 25 years, some 16 years, 14 years. I mean, but we rely on every penny that walks in, that comes into our doors, because that helps us with with our rent, with our utility bills, to keep our doors open. And again, right, with EBS has started as a food pantry, we evolved to so much more, that we're not just, it's only food. We got families that are asking for those baby diapers, for the wipes, there was a baby formula crisis, right? Yes. That happened because one factory shut down. The whole nation was on crisis. And putting it out there like, listen, this is what we got, letting people know what we have. And thank God our doors continue to stay open, so that mom that was in full anxiety mode, right?
So much panic.
Girl.
You can't feed your baby. Oh my, like, I think it happened after my son was like past that age, but I remember seeing it because I'm in that world of like, moms, and I just can't even imagine like the panic that you would feel about wanting to provide for your kid and not being able to.
Yes. Right. So it helps with mental health. Right, a lot of people don't really talk about like, the mental health of it, with anxiety of it, with all that. So with organizations like ours that are able to stay open, helps. It's prevention. It's liability. Like, I feel like if our doors close, I feel like I'm letting my community down. And the thing is that I have people that come to my organization one time and I don't see them again. Then I'll have that family that will come one time, and then 3 months later, there's a check in the mail saying, thank you for no judging me. Thank you for showing me love and compassion, because that's what it's all about. So I tell all of, I get that question, like, how can we support you? How you can help? If you're not able to help us financially, right? Help with volunteering. Talk to your church, talk to your sports team, talk to a business, do a food drive, do a diaper drive, do a wipey drive. I mean, right now I have a group doing they're doing spices, spice drive, because we always forget about the ketchup, the salt, the adobo, the stuff, like all of that. That's another thing as well, but you can visit our website, which is ebsamaritano.org. So many ways to get involved. We have our volunteering opportunity. You can put your email address. We'll send you information about what's going on. Follow our Facebook, follow our Instagram, follow the LinkedIn, message me, right? Call me, text me. If you have a business out there that wants to just get out the office, come. I have Hano Insurance that comes. I had United Way come. I have Country Bank. I mean, from Cornerstone. I got so many different corporate organizations that just come and volunteer. Tufts. I mean, Fallon. I mean, I could name them. There's so many that you guys should come when you volunteer.
Totally. And then those are ways for people to give back and donate and get involved. And then for people who might be listening, watching, or stumble upon this interview who need the help. How do they go about getting the help from EBS?
Absolutely.
With food or otherwise.
So everyone is welcome. I don't care where you live, where you're from. You can come. You come to my door. We can support you and we can help you. We're located at 39 Piedmont Street in Worcester, Mass. And you can call our office at 774-253-1619. That's our office. And you can just visit us. I mean, visit our website. I have all the information out there. When in our hours, we're open Tuesday to Friday, from 10 to 2 every day, from Tuesday to Friday. But honestly, just come on by, or call the office. If you're not able to, for some reason that you have a disability or health problems and all that, we'll figure out a way to get to you and help you in a way. There's so many different ways that we can support the community.
Amazing. Well, thank you again for everything that you are doing, your volunteers are doing, your parents did and are doing. Amazing. We like to end every episode by giving guests the opportunity to shout out other women-owned businesses or women leading organizations and change makers.
Absolutely.
Who do you know?
So it's beautiful that you asked me that question, because 5 years ago, there was this church that was announcing us that they were doing a turkey drive for the organization, and there was an individual from that church that saw EBS's name, and she had reached out to me because she was like, I need you on my podcast. I want to help you with marketing and all of that. And her name is actually Jennifer Hernandez from Gem Marketing. And she has provided in-kind services for us and helped us in so many different ways, right? And this is what it's all about. So shout out to Jennifer Hernandez, because when you talk about, giving back and paying forward and all that, she is one of the individuals that I consider her as a friend, and I appreciate her. And I mean, love her. So you guys know her.
Yes, I just saw her on Tuesday too. Yeah.
Oh my God.
She's great. She's doing a lot, and she's very sweet. So I love that she's helping you in that way.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming on. I know you're so busy, and to come down here, get away from the organization for a minute, but we appreciate it. And hopefully, if this doesn't bring in donations or volunteers, hopefully this information helps people watching or listening. So
appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And you guys got to come over.
Definitely.
And we could do the podcast over there at EBS. We could do a live one. I would love that.
Totally.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to show your love for all the local ladies in business? Girls Just Want a Podcast merch is now available on Etsy.
From stickers to mugs and hats to tumblers, you can rep your favorite gal gang wherever you go.
Your purchase helps us continue to rent studio space, upgrade our recording equipment, and pay for editing software.
Find Girls Just Want a merch on Katrina and Create's Etsy shop. Link is in the show notes.
Welcome back.
Yay, heart it or hate it. You want to go first this time?
Hate it. Yeah.
Okay.
Heart it or hate it, gardening.
To what extent?
Okay.
Like how involved?
Well, the premise for this is that I have decided that
not a new hobby. Not a new hobby. How did I see that coming from a mile away?
I have decided to start a garden this spring.
Outdoors?
Yeah.
In nature?
Yeah.
Okay.
My little condo, we're allowed like a single garden bed in our backyard. And I want to start growing vegetables.
Wow, vegetables. That's even more interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Like what kinds of vegetables?
And
what will you use them for?
Lettuce and or spinach.
Okay.
Carrots. I think I had potato on there, but I can't remember if that's actually something that I can realistically grow.
Is it a raised bed or is it in the ground?
It would be a raised bed.
Okay, that's
and maybe green beans. And I'd love to have strawberries in there too, except I have tried to grow strawberries before, and the little critters eat every single one.
The critters will eat anything, which is why I think the raised bed is better than having them on the ground. But
well, the strawberries were on my deck in a pot.
Right, yeah.
But the squirrels would come.
I mean, love the idea of it. I don't have like a vegetable or fruit garden, but I have a small little garden I have a hydrangea bush that I planted that I meticulously keep up every year, with cutting it back and mulching and weeding. And so I like doing that. And I like the idea of being outside. I like the idea of it not being 20 degrees every day.
Yeah.
So gardening, I mean, if that's what gets me outdoors in 70-degree weather, then great, I'll do it. I don't have a vegetable or fruit garden, though. I also don't really have the space for one unless I were to buy a garden bed that's like raised.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, this is all like hypothetical in my head. It's one of those shiny object ideas that I had, partly because inflation.
Yeah.
Price of things. I feel like the world might be ending, and it might be good to learn some skills about how to take care of yourself once the world ends.
Little hunter and gatherer type
vibes. Exactly. And I think it would be fun for Jamie to do gardening together. But all right, so my dad was a gardener. He had a garden at his house. He worked at a farm, not like officially, but his friends own a farm, and he would like go and do all the work there. So part of me thinks that I might just start inviting my dad over a lot more. Be like, Daddy, can you go just like do whatever my garden needs?
Well, you do what you got to do. You weigh the pros and cons of that. Let me know how it works out.
He usually goes and helps me buy flowers and will help me like, because I like to have flowers on my deck railings.
Yeah.
I think you've seen. So he helps me with that. So we'll see. Anyway, so I'm going to say heart it.
Okay.
It's a great pipe dream of mine that I'm going to have a garden this summer.
This is an idea I've had since lunch.
This is a dream I've had since lunch, and I'm not giving up
on it now. Okay. Heart it or hate it, protein like shakes and powders.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an answer.
Okay.
I'm
going to go heart it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing protein powders,
Mm-hmm.
obviously making protein shakes with them a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it is like finding the right protein powder.
Yes.
So like there's this brand that we use at the gym that I like. It's really good. It's, a little bit more expensive, and also you can only like get it online. So it's just kind of a pain in the ass that way. Whereas like I'd like to ideally be able to buy something at the grocery store that I like, but it is what it is. But yeah, this brand that we use I really like, and it's delicious. So
okay.
I'm getting more protein in.
Yeah, I used to drink protein shakes on the daily at one point in my life. And I found a brand that I liked. I will never make them with water.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's just too gross. I think with this one, I was doing half water, half almond milk to make it a little creamier.
Yeah.
And so Jesse had one flavor that he liked from this brand. It was called Pro Gym. I'm not even sure if it's around anymore. I'm pretty sure there was like warnings about like, don't drink this if you're pregnant, which was like weird for a protein shake. Like may cause cancer type of warnings on the back.
Oh, cool.
But they had a s'mores flavor and a chocolate cookie crunch flavor.
Nice.
Chocolate cookie crunch had actual little crunchies.
Yeah.
And the s'mores had actual little marshmallows.
Oh.
I liked the s'mores. He liked chocolate cookie crunch. It was like $70 for a tub of it. It was expensive, but it was good.
Yeah.
So we would have that like every day. But still, like, I need to be in like a healthier mindset to want to have protein shakes, because it's not like I'm not going to crave a protein shake the way I crave ice cream,
Yeah.
So
I'm just like excited that I can get like 20 grams of protein in a very quick sitting.
Yeah.
Instead of having lean meat with every freaking meal.
Yeah, I started having protein shakes when I was, a macro girly, counting my macros, and I was trying to have a good balance.
I think I'm in that season of life right now.
Yeah. It's a good one. But I literally like needed to have protein shakes to get the macros. Where they needed to be.
Right.
As much as I loved having my eggs for breakfast and my tuna for lunch and my chicken for dinner.
Right.
Like,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of needing protein every day to survive. So stupid.
I think I'll do like the carnivore diet though. I don't think I'd mind that. Have you heard of that?
I'm assuming it's when you
just
eat a lot of meat.
Yeah.
No, because I don't like a lot of meat.
I do like meat.
I'm not a big meat eater.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Okay. So I'm gonna say hate it.
Okay.
Just because I haven't really been having them. So yeah. Okay. My turn?
Yeah.
Heart it or hate it. I'm going to say skiing / snowboarding, since we talked about this earlier.
I mean, I heart it for other people, but I hate it for me. Yeah. Because again, I'm not a cold weather person. It would be great to like get in more physical activity this time of year, which I could do via skiing and snowboarding, but at what cost,
I know.
So I'll go hate it for me.
I might disappoint the family, but I think I'm going to say hate it. I'm glad that I did it. I think I'll go again, but I don't foresee myself becoming a skier.
Right. Like you're like, that's not my personality. I can try it on for size, but I don't need to adopt that as a new hobby.
I do think that my favorite winter activity is staying indoors. Like that's just who I am.
Yeah.
At my being, at my core.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just not for me. Love it for you.
All right, last one. Heart it or hate it, the do not disturb setting on your phone. Like, do you go in do not disturb a lot?
I have my phone like programmed to have do not disturb times. I don't really like manually switch it throughout my days. Yeah. So I'll say, I guess I'll say heart it. There are some times that like I get annoyed that like I either don't have the settings the way I wish I'd had them, or like, I don't know, I should tweak it and I'm just too lazy to actually like make it exactly what I want it to be. But overall, yeah, heart it.
I am going to go heart it. Okay. Now, if you had asked me this a year ago, I would have gone hate it. So I've come around.
Interesting.
Because I just felt like it wasn't doing what I wanted it. Like, I don't know. I just felt like to think about going on do not disturb was a whole thing. Like I'd have to get to a point where I'm like, wow, my phone is such a distraction. And then I'd have to put it on do not disturb. Then I would forget to turn it off. Mind you, got a new iPhone in July. So updated to like the newest iOS, whatever. And I guess, I forget honestly, but there are settings where like you can set your sleep mode and you can set your, so my phone goes into do not disturb every night now at 10:45.
Yeah.
And it doesn't turn back on until I think 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So even if I wake up earlier than 8, or you know, if I'm up until midnight, 1 a.m., like my phone isn't pinging me, which is nice, even though like I have group messages going and stuff like that. And people will text me at like 11, 11:30 or 7 a.m. But it's like, you know what? I'm not dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I know you can set contacts to like, they can, you know, disturb you at any time, which I should probably do with like my mom and like my sister, just in case anything ever happens.
Right.
But yeah, I've been loving it.
Oh, good.
And honestly, I'd like to start just using it more.
Yeah.
I'd like for people to stop disturbing me.
Yeah. I do have settings. I have like work hours where I only get pinged by like clients, and then or like, you know, coworkers or whatever.
Like certain apps and stuff.
This is for like texting.
Oh, okay.
And then at a certain time of day.
I hope I'm one of those people.
I don't think I ever have you on like do not disturb. I don't know.
I can always disturb her, which is what I'm best at, being disturbing, being an interruption.
And then at the end of the workday, it like switches, so any like clients go on do not disturb.
Good.
Yeah. And then I try to keep that in mind when I get the text at like 8 p.m. from a client. Oh, it's like, don't look at that.
You're like, I see it, but I wasn't notified by it.
Yeah.
So we'll just count that.
Exactly.
As work-life balance or integration or whatever we're calling it now.
Yeah. Yeah, heart it.
Okay. All right, that's it for Heart It or Hate It.
That's it. We will see you next week.
Later, ladies.
Later.